thank you, Assistant Secretary James, and also Major General Spellman. It's great to have you guys here with us today. So I represent Iowa's 1st Congressional District, right there on the Mississippi. So I have actually quite a few questions, and if in the interest of time, if you can keep it brief, that would be great. First, when I met with Colonel Sadinger from Rock Island back in March, he told me the Cedar Rapids Eastern Floodwall Project has been fully funded and construction will start this October. Obviously, great news for a community that was devastated by flooding back in 2008 and desperately needs that flood wall done. I was just wondering if we could get an update from you on the timeline for this project and if there are any remaining hurdles to getting that job done.
No, ma'am, no hurdles that I am familiar with. This year we've already issued 3 architect-engineer task orders to commence the design, and as you've mentioned, we'll issue the first 2 construction contracts by the end of the fiscal year.
Great, thank you so much. And next, I want to ask about the Navigation Ecosystem Sustainability Program, obviously NESP. This program is obviously critical for farmers and other shippers in my state who use the Mississippi to move their products. Congress authorized this project over a decade ago, but it keeps getting pushed back. So we know there's a backlog of waterways projects, but this year the president has requested a 31% cut to the Corps. To be clear, the Mississippi River is our competitive edge, especially at a time when our farmers are getting hit on all sides due to flooding, but then also because of the trade war. And this is a time where we need to be investing more in our waterways and our infrastructure, not less. Can you help me understand, Secretary James, why the backlog of these projects, including NESP, has been underfunded and why NESP hasn't moved forward more quickly?
I've been familiar with NESP in my prior life as a member of the Mississippi River Commission. In that life, I really felt like we handled that wrong. Since I got here in this job, I have discovered that the Congress and the industry wants to do it as it is, navigation, ecosystem, restoration, sustainability together.
Okay.
And all those years, I didn't think that was a good idea. I thought we should have them separated so they could be funded separately. Now, I got here and I found out that's not what the people want, so I don't even talk about that anymore. But let me address backlog just a minute, Madam Chairman. Mr. Graves said $100 billion backlog, and that's what we put out. Mm-hmm. I'm going to be working on that because I don't believe that. I don't believe we've got a $100 billion backlog. We've got projects that have been authorized for years and years and years. I don't consider those backlog. I only consider projects that have been authorized and appropriated at least $1. That means the Congress is willing to put its money where its mouth is, and I call that backlog.
Yeah, Secretary James, I'm sorry, I'm just in the interest of time to follow up on that. If it's not the backlog or if it's not the money, what do we need to do as a Congress to move NESP forward?
So far, it's been the lack of will. That's why it hadn't moved forward, and it's very much needed. Those locks and dams in the upper Mississippi River are falling apart.
They are, and I mean, it's authorized over a decade ago, and so I know this is, your oversight on this as well, and we've got to make sure that we're doing this, and we're happy to work with you any way we can to make sure that these projects move forward. They are desperately needed, and thank you for your time as well. And lastly, I do want to follow up as well just about flooding in general. As you know, Iowa farmers endured months of not being able to move their goods down the Mississippi because of the prolonged flooding. This is only going to get worse. These so-called 500-year floods are now happening every 5 years now. Major General Spellman, is the Corps ready to manage the flooding in the Mississippi River, particularly given the need to balance the Corps' other function like navigation and recreation? If we were to redesign how the Army Corps of Engineers manages the Mississippi River watershed, what do you think needs to change or actually work differently so you can more effectively control for flooding?
Yes, ma'am. So after we get through this next flood fight, every year we will conduct an after-action review after we get through this event to see what are the opportunities where we can further improve our operations up and down the basin.
Would it be helpful to have some research on that? And okay, great. Thank you so much, and thank you both for your time today. This is obviously very important, and look forward to continuing these conversations. Thank you.